They say that when history ends, myths will step out of steel and fire to write the final page.
It was the dance of fallen angels, fighting against a storm made from the earth's tears.
They didn't destroy our world.
Shield energy at 40%. We can't hold it for long. We built walls of light, a desperate attempt to
Activate the final protocol. Send them humanity's regards. It wasn't a weapon. It was a question.
This isn't an earthquake. It has a pattern, like a song.
The deepest darkness was not empty. It was simply waiting.
Impossible. The signals are globally synchronized. It's as if the planet is breathing.
It began as a curiosity, a wonder posted on social media.
We need to know what it is and where it's from immediately.
narrator.
Governments tried to control the narrative, but you can't.
Their growth rate was non-biological, defying every law we knew.
General, they're forming a network, a global energy grid. That was the moment curiosity turned to fear. This wasn't a phenomenon, it was a preparation.
They weren't just growing. They were connecting to places of historical power, as if claiming ownership.
This was not an invasion.
Our icons, our feats of engineering, were merely toys in the hands of the new architects.
Target locked! Fire on my command!
When faced with the incomprehensible, humanity's first reaction is always violence. Impact confirmed. No significant damage. Cannons that once leveled mountains now felt like knocking on the door of an impregnable fortress.
It's firing back! All units, fall back!
That was the moment we realized we weren't dealing with a geological event. We were in a war.
Mjolnir Squadron, move into attack formation! Let's show them humanity's thunder! Good lord, they have an air force! Narrator.
Our enemy didn't just defend.
I'm swarmed. Can't shake them.
Each small victory was a drop in the ocean. Their numbers were endless.
Mayday! Mayday! We learned a bitter lesson.
And then, their generals appeared. They had no faces, no emotions, only a single purpose. It's useless! Fall back to the Aegis perimeter! The weapons of the 20th century became obsolete overnight. We're trapped!
They weren't just brutes. They were architects of the battlefield. Humanity, the self-proclaimed masters of the planet, were now cornered in their last few islands of existence. Aegis shield is active. We're safe, for now. We built walls of light, the last hope of a dying civilization. For the first time, their advance was halted.
Will it hold?
Humanity's faith was now placed in physical equations and the energy cores they had built.
What are they doing? They're learning.
Our enemy was not just strong, it was intelligent.
That was their heart, their central mind. The source of all.
Watch it. Their energy frequency is changing.
They weren't just learning, they were adapting.
Shield breached. They found our resonance frequency.
Our walls of light, like everything else, had a breaking point. Conventional weapons are useless. The Aegis shields won't last. It's time to unleash our Titan.
When faced with extinction, humanity doesn't pray. Green light for Project Chimera.
Good luck, Major. Humanity's last hope wasn't an army. It was a single machine.
All combat systems ready. Chimera is online. The beast was awake.
A god of metal walked the earth, ready to face the gods of stone.
Target, Crystal Golem in Sector 7. Let the hunt begin.
This was no longer defense. This was the counterattack.
Its speed was a challenge, its agility an insult to its lumbering foe.
The moment of truth. Steel versus stone. Chaos versus order.
For humanity!
Two titans collided, and the ground groaned beneath their power.
For the first time, the terraformers felt resistance.
It's regenerating too fast. I have to hit the core.
Victory would not come from wounding it, but from extinguishing the fire within.
A single strike. A final gamble.
A titan had fallen. Hope, for the first time in a long time, was reborn.
We did it!
A single victory lit a fire in a billion hearts.
Multiple golem signatures detected. Estimated 12 hostiles inbound. But the war was just beginning.
All right then. Let's see who gets tired first.
A lone legend against an army.
The cavalry's here, Chimera. We'll cover your flanks.
Humanity had learned to fight together.
But the battle for the fate of Earth had begun in earnest. Too slow.
Humanity's machine had more than strength. It had speed, a lethal insult to the stone giants.
Target immobilized. Chimera, it's your move.
Coordination became our sharpest weapon. Sky and ground fighting as one.
Every attack was a testament to human ingenuity, a deliberate chaos against rigid order.
That's 3 down. Clearing this sector, moving on.
In that moment, victory seemed not just possible, it seemed certain.
Inch by inch, street by street, we were taking our world back.
Commander, I'm detecting new hostiles.
The joy of victory was short-lived.
Warning. Ballistic projectiles inbound.
They had learned from their defeats. They had developed ranged weaponry, armors holding, but not for long.
The once invincible Titan armor now bore its first scars.
The hunt was over. The fight for survival had begun.
Missiles ineffective. They're coordinating.
They were no longer mindless beasts. They had become a tactical army.
My sword arm is pinned!
Our strength was being negated by their sheer numbers.
Warning. Critical damage to right leg actuator.
The Titan began to bleed.
Disengaged, but mobility is compromised.
Every escape was paid for with a piece of the legend's strength. The fight stretched for hours, then for a day.
For every monster we felled, the planet birthed 2 more.
For my family, goodbye. Bravery had turned to sacrifice. Hope had turned to desperation.
Your sacrifice will not be in vain. The weight of an entire world now rested on the shoulders of a single pilot.
The support was gone. The cavalry had fallen. Only the lone legend remained.
Primary weapon energy at 10%.
The Titan's fire was dying. The god of steel was wounded, revealing the mundane machine beneath. No, not yet. They didn't just want to defeat us. They wanted us to witness our own helplessness.
Insufficient power to maintain combat functions. The numbers do not lie. And they had just pronounced Hope's death sentence.
The last torch was extinguished.
In the midst of destruction, one thing remained unchanged. A constant. A language.
The end seemed inevitable.
It's not noise. It's a song. If you cannot defeat them with force, perhaps you can speak to them. Commander, do you read me? I think I know what to do.
I need you to trust me. Reroute all remaining power to the communications array.
Can't win, too many. But their frequency, it's stable. It's a language. Commander, I have a crazy idea.
We are not firing to destroy. We are firing to communicate. Synchronize frequency with Chimera's signal. Now.
Resonance cascade emitter ready. Awaiting fire command. Again, we're based on a mad theory. Then you can talk to its form.
We are part of this world too.
The
Listen
fight
to
was
us.
to a god.
Chimera signal received. Locking frequency. Narrator. Technology and will have become one.
Fire. A shot fired not with hatred, but with an offer.
It was not a bullet, it was a song, wrapping the entire world.
For the first time, their war machine hesitated.
The conversation had begun.
They're responding.
In that silence, an understanding was born. A new command was issued. Not of war, but of cessation. The war was over. There were no victors. Only silence.
The god of war had completed its task, not by destruction, but by understanding.
We did not get our old world back. Instead, we were given a new one, stranger and more complex. The planet no longer belonged to just us. It had become something more.
The war for dominance was over. The act of living together had just begun.